everyone. This is our second video from SheCoders, and this time our topic of discussion would be arrays in C. I'm Shalini Sheetal here, and I'll be guiding you guys through this concept. So let us begin. What exactly is an array? An array is defined as the collection of similar type of data items stored as contiguous memory locations. What does the word contiguous means? It means that the elements in an array are stored continuously. Their borderlines coincide. They are absolute neighbors of each other. There is no space in between the members of an array. One has to exist one after another. So they are stored sequentially. That's the first characteristic of an array. Now, arrays are the derived data types in C programming that can store the primitive type of data such as integers, characters, floating point values, double values, and so on. Nextly, arrays also have the capability to store different types of derived data types such as pointers, structures, etc. An array of structures can exist, an array of pointers can also exist. So arrays have the capability to store other derived data types as well. Now nextly, an array is the simplest data structure where each data element can be randomly accessed by using its index number. Now if you know the base address, it becomes very easy to access any other element of the array. If you know the base address, the first address of the first element, then you can easily traverse the array. You can access sequentially each element or different elements separately, provided you know the index number. The array indices begin from 0 and move to 1 less than the size of the array. We'll talk about that later. Now, C array is beneficial if you have to store similar elements. As I have already told, an array can store only similar types of data. If the array is declared as integer, then all the elements have to be of integer type. If it is declared as character, then all the elements have to be of character type. It's not possible to declare an array in which floating point values, character values, integer values exist simultaneously. All the elements in an array have to be of the same data type. It's a compulsory condition. It's a necessary condition. Otherwise, it's not possible for such an array to exist which has integer values, floating point values, character values simultaneously. So all the elements must have the same data type. Now let's move on to advantages of using an array. The first point is code optimization. Using an array implies lesser code to access the data. Suppose you have to access 10 data values. If you use an array, then you can access them using a single variable name of the array, provided they all are stored in the same array. But if you declare separate variable names for each of the data elements, then accessing them becomes even more longer process and becomes complicated. So using an array is a wiser option to access a similar type of data types continuously. Nextly, there is an ease of traversing. While using an array, you can easily access each element sequentially by using any kind of loop. It becomes very easy to access each and every element when you have declared them, stored them in an array. Nextly, there is an ease of sorting in an array. The code becomes shorter, statements become lesser in number when you have to sort the elements present in an array instead of the condition when they are present separately. It becomes much more complicated if they are present as different variables. But in an array, you can use various loops and then sort the array into ascending or descending. Now the last point is random access. In an array, it's possible to access any element randomly provided you know the base address. You can access any index value, any element present in the array. It becomes very easy. Now there is one disadvantage of an array. What's that? That is, the arrays have fixed size. Whatever the size has been declared, it's a compulsory situation that the size of the array cannot exceed that limit. Whatever has been declared during the initialization of the array, it's a must that all the elements must have to exist within that number. You cannot insert any more elements into the array if it exceeds the size. But this is not the case if you use data structures like linked list, that there is dynamic memory allocation. In those structures, memory is allocated dynamically, so you can add as many nodes, as many information elements as you require. The memory can expand as per your needs, but it's not the case with array. In array, the size is fixed. Suppose the array has the size 10, you can insert only 10 elements within that. You cannot exceed that limit. So that's the only disadvantage, the only significant disadvantage of using an array. Now let's move on to properties of array. The array contains the following properties. Each element of an array is of same data type and carries the same size. For example, the array is declared as integer, then each of the data elements possess 4 bytes each. Naturally, as an array contains variables of the same data type, then it's a must condition that each of the data elements must have the same size. If all are character, then each possesses 1 byte each. If all are integers, all possess 4 bytes each. So that's the condition for the arrays. Nextly, elements of the array are stored as contiguous memory locations, where the first element is stored as the smallest memory location. As I've already told, if you know the base address, you can access other elements, right? So the first element is stored at the smallest memory location, the first memory location, and all the elements are added after that. They are present continuously right after the first element in a sequential manner. Nextly, elements of the array can be randomly accessed, since we can calculate the address of each element of the array with the given base address and the size of the data element. As I have already mentioned, if you know the base address, you can move further and further and further and access each element of the array randomly. If you know the index value, then you can directly access any element. You don't need to begin from the beginning. We will look into how to calculate the address of an element a bit later. Now this is the pictorial representation of an array as is present in memory. For example, an array val exists. The first element 11 is present as 8820 memory location. For example, it's present at that address. Then the next element val within square brackets 1 is stored at 8824. Since it is an integer array, you can see 4 bytes are added up, and the next element is present 4 bytes later in the memory. All the array elements occupy contiguous memory locations, so there is a difference of 4 among the addresses of subsequent neighbors. This is because the array is of integer type and an integer holds 4 bytes for memory. So each element adds up 4 bytes further in the memory. This is the memory representation of array as present in the computer. This is how an array is actually stored. As you can see, the last element, which is the val 6, 8884. That's the address of the last element. But if you see here, the val 6 is actually the 7th element here. It's not the 6th element. Since the indices begin from 0, the base element has the index 0 and it's stored at the base address from where the address of the array begins. And the last element is 1 less than the size. Here the size of the array is 7, but the last index is 6. So you have to keep that in mind. Now let's see how can we declare arrays. To declare an array in C, a programmer specifies the type of the elements and the number of elements required by an array. Those are the two needs to declare an array. You first have to mention its type, then you need to give the array a name which satisfy the rules of an identifier in C, and then you have to mention its size. This is the proper syntax of declaring an array. First the type, then the name, and then within square brackets you have to mention its size. This is called the syntax of a 1D array, a single dimensional array. the array size must be an integer which is constant and has a value greater than 0. Naturally, a size cannot be a decimal. It won't make any sense. It cannot be a negative value. It also won't make any sense. So it has to be a constant positive integer. It cannot be a variable. It has to be a constant integer value. And the data type can be any valid C data type. For example, in order to store a 10 element array called balance, then you have to use this statement, double balance within square brackets. You have to mention its size, which is 10. Then an array called balance is sufficient to hold up to 10 double members as its data type has been specified as double. Nextly, we move on to initializing arrays. You can initialize an array in C either by a single statement in which you have to write double balance within square brackets. The size is present, which is 5 in this case. And then in order to assign value to each of the data elements, you have to mention them within curly braces. Here, the values are present separated by commas, and each variable present in the array is assigned the respective values in the manner in which they are present inside the curly braces. The number of values between braces naturally cannot exceed the size of the array. It cannot be larger than the number of elements that we declare for the array. It has to be the same as the size of the array. If you omit the size of the array, then an array just big enough to hold the initialization is created. For example, in this case, you can also write as double balance within square brackets. You don't need to mention anything, you can leave it empty, and then the same thing within curly braces. Then this will actually create an exactly same array as you did in the previous example. All the elements present in the array data are assigned the respective values in the similar manner, and the size is automatically set to 5 as there are 5 elements present within curly braces. The following is an example to assign a single element of the array. We have already seen how to assign all the values to data elements. Suppose you want to assign only to the 4th value, or only to the 5th value, or only to the 10th value. Then how do you do that? Look at the statement, balance within square brackets 4, which is assigned as 50.0. Then in this case, be careful, the 5th element is assigned as 50.0 and not the 4th element, because indices value begin from 0 and move to 1 less than the size of the array. So here the size of the array is 5. So they begin from 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the 4 index actually points to the 5th element of the array. And the 5th element, the last element, is assigned the value of 50. Nextly, we access array elements. We have to reach to them somehow, right? We have to print them, we have to operate on them. How do we do that? Elements of an array are accessed by specifying the index of the desired element within square brackets after the array name. Array subscripts naturally must be of integer type. Otherwise, they won't make any sense. The size of the array is an integer, the subscripts are of integer values. Now, a very important point which I have already mentioned multiple times is that array indices start at 0 in C and go to 1 less than the size of the array. For example, a 5-element array will have indices 0 through 4. This is because the index in C is actually an offset from the beginning of the array. The first element is at the beginning of the array and hence has 0 offset. Now, a common mistake we encounter, which is termed as landmine in C, is that we often forget that the indices begin at 0 and stop 1 less than the array size. We often go beyond that. If we continue till then it's called a landmine, and you need to keep that in mind, that you need to go just before the size of the array. You should not cross beyond that or begin before 0. It begins from 0 and ends at n minus 1 if n is the size of the array. Keep that in mind. It's a very necessary point. Now lastly, arrays are commonly used in conjunction with loops in order to perform any calculations, any operations. For example, you need to traverse an array. Then you have to form a for loop which can access each element sequentially. Whatever the operations you need to perform on the data elements of an array, you have to access a loop, any kind of loop, be it while, be it do while, be it for, but arrays work very closely with loops. So you have to get familiar with the concept of loops as well. Now this example shows how to use all the three earlier mentioned concepts of declaration, assignments, and accessing arrays. Firstly, you include the header files as required. Then you begin with the main function in the program. You declare an array n of size 10. And then you declare the integers ij, and then you begin the for loop. The for loop begins from I is equal to 0 and moves to less than 10. It is not less than equal to, it's less than 10. You move till then and increment I sequentially. Now in this case, n of I is assigned the value of I plus 100. So firstly, if the index value is 0, then it is given the value of 0 plus 100, which is 100. If it's 1, it's 1 plus 100, which is 101. In that manner, we assign the values of the array. And nextly, we begin another loop which moves in the similar manner from 0 to 1 less than 10, which is 9, and we print the array elements. So what will be the output in this case? As you can see, each element has got the value of 100, 101, 102 respectively, so on, and the ninth element has 9 plus 100, the value of 109. And the elements are printed sequentially. So for loop works for arrays, right? Now in this case, we have already assigned the values, but if you want, you can also take input values from the user. Whatever the input user gives, array elements can also have those values. If the user inputs 10 for first element, 100 for second element, 250 for third element, it can also be present in that manner. Nextly, we see how do we calculate the address of an element in an array. This is the pictorial representation. All the arrays begin from the base address and move till the last element. So in the formula, the B is the base address. You must know that, and if you know that, then you can easily calculate the address of any element. Now W is the size of one element stored in the array. Suppose if it's integer, then W will be 4. If it's character, W will be 1. In that manner, W is the size of each variable present in array. I is the subscript of element whose address is to be found. Suppose you need to access the fourth element, then in that case I will be 4. If you need to access the third element, I will be 3. So I is the value of the index, and LB is the lower bound. It can also be termed the lower limit. If not specified, you can safely take that value as 0, because always the indices begin with 0. This example will make it clear. Suppose an array is given as B. The lower limit begins from 1300 and goes on till 1900. The base address is specified as 1020 and size of each element is given 2 bytes. So whatever the data type, it's mentioned that it occupies 2 bytes in memory. We need to find the address of B of 1700. Right? So how do we do that? The general formula for calculating the address of any element A of I is B plus W whole into I minus LB. B is the base address, W is the size of each data element, I is the index value, and LB is the lower bound. In this case, I is 1700, lower bound is 1300, W is 2, as each element occupies 2 bytes in memory, it's already mentioned, and the base address is given as 1020. So if we substitute all these values into the formula, then it gives the address of that element as 1820. So this is a simple formula. You take the base address and add up all the bytes consumed till that element whose address has to be calculated, and you get the answer. It's pretty simple if you see. So I would like to end my presentation with this. I hope you liked this video. Thanks a lot for your patience and watching this. Thanks.